The next project we're going to work on is our soft slab hump mold formed piece, or our soft slab plate. I've gone ahead and I've rolled out a slab of clay to the blue guide sticks, the 3/8 inch thickness, and I've smoothed off the surface of the clay so that the top of the slab doesn't have any imperfections, because this is going to form the top curve of our plate or bowl form. There are two other things we'll need. We're going to need a plaster mold called a hump mold, and it's called that because the clay is formed over the hump part of the mold, not inside a concaved portion. We're also going to need a metal turntable called a banding wheel. So we're going to put our banding wheel on the table. We're going to put our mold on top of the banding wheel, and we're going to carefully pick up our slab and lay it roughly over the center of the wheel. Now you'll notice that I have quite a few wavy edges here. Because the slab is flat and the mold isn't, we have to conform the edges of the slab to the mold. And we can do this by very gently pressing down with our handy sponge roller. And this will help align those clay particles so that they respond to the curve of the mold. You might have to go around the mold a couple times, encouraging that to form down, giving it a little more pressure with each turn. We don't want to deform it so much that we make thin spots, so we just want to work it gently and rotate the mold. Now, if I wanted to make a completely round form, because this banding wheel can turn, I can cut a perfect circle by spinning the banding wheel, find which way spins best for you, and holding the needle tool still, and it will draw a perfectly concentric line. From there, you can rotate it and follow that pin line to cut off the extra. Now, if you wanted a perfectly round plate, that's a great place to start. I don't want a perfectly round plate. I want to give it a little bit more character. So I'm going to get rid of some of these edges and give my plate a little more free-form form. Okay. Now, if you find that your plate's no longer centered, then you can scoot it a little, rub it back down with the roller, making sure it's conforming to the plate. Now, this sharp edge that we see right now is very easy to clean up with just the pad of our finger running it along that edge. You could also do this with a damp sponge. And we can go ahead and bevel that edge right now while it's soft and take advantage of the clay's responsiveness rather than having to work harder to do that later. Now we're looking at the bottom of our plate. Your assignment is to add additions of your choice to both the top and the bottom. This could come in the form of feet and handles. It could be sculptural additions, whatever you choose. But since we're looking at the bottom of the plate, and we have to wait till this gets rather hard before it'll be firm enough to hold the shape, we can take advantage of that and go ahead and add the feet now. And there are many, many ways of adding feet. You could do something very sculptural. Now I'm just placing these on here to show you some possibilities. If I actually was attaching that, I would need to scratch, score, and slip it, as we usually do. You could do a ball foot and compress it down to give it some interesting shapes. You could do a foot like this. There are many different options for you on what you plan to do with the feet, but one thing you need to think about is stability. If you plan for this plate to sit stably on a surface, not rock around, then you want to think about the feet very carefully. And if you think about camera tripods, some sorts of tables, the most stable positioning for feet is in a 3-point or triangular orientation. If you have 3 points of contact with the surface it's going to be sitting on, your form will always sit stably. If you have 4 points of contact, it always seems that one foot isn't quite sitting, you may have some rocking. So I encourage you, if you're going to do something like this, that you have 3 points of contact for your feet. Even if you're doing a more sculptural foot, if you're doing something big with coils or maybe cut leather hard slabs, that you still have 3 points of contact, 3 points where that foot sits to the table, and that'll make sure that it's completely stable. Okay. We can also take advantage of the fact that we can see this plate, the bottom surface, to take our rubber scraper before we attach the feet and make sure that we get all that canvas texture taken care of. Get that all smoothed out. Make sure we don't have any imperfections in the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and roll out my feet. I decided I'm going to do some ball feet for this particular piece. I'm just setting them right here to find the placement that I want for them.